On this day in 1960, police in Sharpeville, South Africa opened fire and killed 69 people in the Black Township. They were peacefully demonstrating against apartheid. Since 1979, the United Nations has honored the victims by observing the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination.
Racism is not innate, but once learned, it can take on a destructive power of its own. When governments and other authorities use racism and discrimination for political ends, they are playing with fire.
But even 75 years after the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, for many across the world, living in an equal society free of racism is still but a dream.
How many times must we be witness to the destruction caused by these discriminatory misapprehensions? In 1945, we vowed never again. Today we commemorate that vow and that promise. But is it enough? Will repeating these words push us to act?
Several speakers at the UN spoke about the need to build a future free of racism and discrimination, but said it requires mending an unjust past.
We cannot waste another moment. We must join hands from Cape Town to Queens and recommit ourselves to the promise of racial equality.
The UN Secretary General has urged every government to adopt by December of this year a national action plan to combat racism and racial discrimination. People like Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King Jr. have been lauded for their contribution in the fight against racism, but racial equality is still a far way off for millions who still feel the impact of white supremacy, xenophobia and hate speech in 2023. Jody Jacobs, CGTN at the United Nations.